Bonjour, Roger Swift, Retro Music Review UK here, and I'm going to do a vlog with a bit of a difference. Straying from the subject of music, retro music slightly, I'm going to talk about my DVD collection. Now, as always, I collect CDs, I have a DVD collection as well. Now, of course, I've made it clear in my CD videos, I collect CDs because I want to, okay? That's my passion. I like having physical copies of things. So straight away I'm going to get 150 comments as I do all this going, dude, you know all this stuff's on Netflix, right? Yeah, I'm aware. I'm totally aware of the fact that even though I've said this in the video, I've still got someone right now is putting that in the comments. It's on the streaming services. I know. I'm getting defensive, and I will get defensive. I know this stuff is all on the streaming services. Some of it isn't, but I know a lot of this will be, or was. We'll get onto that. They took it off on some of them. Some of the things, spoilers, you might guess what some of these are. They're not on the streaming services anymore, which is why, smart ass thought of that. I didn't get rid of my DVDs. I've hung on to them for that exact reason. Streaming wasn't going to be eternal. I foresaw that. Anyway, but point being, I've done my CD collection in a previous video, so I'm going to do my DVD collection now. So let's get started then. So let's just flip the camera. I'm going to try and do this while holding the camera, and it's in a bit of a tight spot where I keep my DVD collection. So let's flip the camera around and go to the top here. Spoilers already for some of this. So we have got, now I ran out of room, I've got that much stuff, spoilers coming down and stuff that's coming up. I had that much room, I didn't have enough room for all of this, so I had to go all the way and add stuff on the top. There's stuff stuck in at the top there, you can't, I'll do those first actually, so I can get some of these out and show you them, because this is the overspill at the top. We've got a complete set of Ronnie Barker in Porridge there, which is all 3 series in the Christmas special. This is a absolute classic sitcom. They don't make them. I'm 37 and I'm going on 60. They just don't make them like this anymore. This is, you know, it's brilliantly funny. It's very subtle and it's just very the writing is amazing in it. Love this show. It's a classic. Wouldn't be absolutely must have it in my collection. I'm going to put these on the floor, those ones, but they're and that's the Going Straight, which is basically the 4th series of Porridge, where he once he comes, and there's spoilers you see and everything as I'm spoiling this, but camera panning too fast. That's just my camera. Right, that makes no sense. No, it's what my little screen here on my video camera showing me. Going Straight is the sequel to Porridge. It's when he gets out of prison, as the name suggests. Only lasted for 6 episodes because Richard Beckinsale died. Series 4, again, I happen to really enjoy this. I think it's got its moments and was underrated. I think they could have got another series out of that, but it never happened. Speaking of Ronnie Barker, his other famous 70s sitcom that ran at the same time, wouldn't be without this one either, Open All Hours, the complete, all 4 series now. I want to make one thing clear, I have watched the sequel, Still Open All Hours. I think it's shit. Puts an absolute steaming pile of shit. I think it's awful. But the original is a classic and brilliant. I've just noticed those are out of order. No, they're not. They go from 1 to 4 at the bottom there. This is the box set I got hold of. This will be next to go. They will eventually start removing these kind of things from the streaming services, you know, because it offends snowflakes. I try not to get political on this channel, but, you know, that's the way we're going with things. But I wouldn't be without that. That's quite a recent one. I only picked that up fairly recently, that one. Another classic here. Spoilers, you're seeing everything that's going to come up. Spoilers, another classic box set. I've got the bottom box set, complete series 1 to 3. I watched this before I was, you know, too old. I was too young. I was watching this before I should have been. I was watching this, like, you know, I watched Nickelodeon cartoons as a teenager and watched this as well. I think this is just effing brilliant. I mean, what's not? It's so politically incorrect now, but it's brilliantly funny. The late Rick Mail there, of course, you know, him and Ronnie Barker were the 2 people who, when they died, I genuinely felt sad. You know, it genuinely upset me that they passed on. Bottom is like a sitcom about these 2 30-something losers who live in London who chase after. It's basically the people on the bottom run of existence, but it is slapstick and them beating the crap out of each other, and the writing's amazing in it, and I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. And again, it's another one they'll probably take off the streaming services eventually anyway, so that's why I want to hang on to that. So that's the top. Now, a lot of this is old BBC sitcoms and kids' cartoons, and yeah, a bit of a mixture. I mean, you know, you're going to see some of the amazing contrasts come up now. You know, I've got this, but then I've got this. You know, it's like, right, you'll see what I mean as I go on. We have Danny Phantom complete box set. That's actually a Region 1 DVD import. 99% sure no streaming services have this. This is a cartoon show from the noughties, 2004, 2000. Was it 2004, 2006? I think it ran. It only ran for 40 hours. It only ran for 3 seasons. And it's about a teenage kid who is half human, half ghost. Yeah, it's as stupid as it sounds, but it's like actually really good, the writing in it. Again, kids show, wouldn't be for everyone. It's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Superman, I suppose, you know, is how I define that. But it's just one thing I wanted to have on DVD. It's the same people who do Fairly Odd Parents, which I've also got, which I prefer actually, but we'll get on to that a bit later. But that just happens to be on the top shelf and first because it's on the overspill. That's a, as you can see, NTSC Region 1 DVD and a box set with them all in there. It's got a lot of the standard cartoon tropes in it. I don't know if people from Britain are going to watch this, people from America are going to watch this. It's a mixture of American cartoons and British sitcoms, basically, is essentially what my DVD collection is, TV show-wise. Doing other TV shows, because as I said, these are all TV shows, those are movies, these are TV shows, that's my Blu-ray movie collection, and then more movie collection, and then we've got stand-up comedy things, and, oh, you know, surprise, surprise, some of the stand-ups I'm going to have there, and then music ones, we'll get on to that. But anyway, so I'm not going to bother taking. I'll take one of these off the shelf just to show you. These are the complete Simpsons DVD box sets. Yep, I love The Simpsons. It's an absolute classic. In fact, it's arguably the bit in its period, in its time, in its peak, which was, so we say, seasons sort of 4. I can't get it back on my shelf one-handed now. There we go. From season sort of 4 through to about 8 or 9, it's absolute, probably arguably the best TV show ever. I don't know if I'd call it that, but you know, if you're from, you know, unless you're really a millennial, you know, you're going to know what The Simpsons is. And yeah, I originally had 1 and I stopped at 10. I thought 10 was the cutoff point, but then I decided I didn't buy the rest of them from new. But then they started coming up on eBay a bit cheaper for, like, you know, £4 or £5 at one point a couple of years ago. So I decided I'll go a little bit further, and then I went as far as 15. I've since gone further as far as 20, even though I don't really rate them that much. But these were like dirt cheap. I picked them up for like about, like, literally $2.99 each, like season 16, 17, 18 and 20 even I got there, that just because they were cheap. I don't think they're like, I'm not saying they're good, they're not good. These are the classics, you know. You want to go from, I've got to defend myself. People are going to go, oh, The Simpsons jumped the shark at 10. No, I think 11 to 14, 15 are still pretty good, but then 16 onwards is just not. But they were cheap and I just like being OCD and having them, so it's just kind of an OCD thing, that's why. So yeah, I've got a Simpsons 1 to 20 set there. Next up, Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf is one of my absolute all-time favourite British sitcoms. It's a science fiction sitcom. I know it like the back of my hand. I can recite it word for word. Am I Smeghead? I don't know. I mean, and I've got a complete set. We've got all the original episodes, season 1, 2, 3. Then again, this, like The Simpsons, it's got this thing in common where the people always have an opinion. Always, at what point it becomes shit. And 6 tends to, generally speaking, be the cut-off point for a lot of people, because that's where the partnership duo who wrote it, Doug and Rob, broke up. And then season 7 onwards is not. It's Rob Grant on his own. So some say it's a bit, I mean, I personally think 8 is better than 7. Seven's the weakest series of the original run. It went from 1 to 8, and then more recently, after a massive long gap, they've started making new ones. This is awful. Back to Earth is absolutely abysmally shit, but I have to have it for OCD reasons. And then you've got 10, 11, 12. And then we've got the recent TV movie, The Promised Land, because I'm OCD, I like having a complete set of things. This is starting to hurt my back now. So, yeah, Red Dwarf, Stone Cold classic, wouldn't be without that. And I don't know, what else do you want me to say? I think it's brilliant. But again, 1 to 6 is the golden era. Yes, absolute gold standard. 7 and 8, 7's 8, and that's shit. 10 I didn't really rate much. 11 is the absolute abysmal. But then 12's and The Promised Land are actually pretty good. They're recent add-ons. And we got the outtakes DVDs, Just the Smegs, which is the outtakes from all the episodes. That's its own thing. That's very entertaining. Then we go from that. We've got Yes Minister. I'm a big fan of the old British sitcom Yes Minister. Again, look, I've got Fairly Odd Parents. I've got the Powerpuff Girls. We'll get onto those. I've got Yes Minister and Breaking Bad in just a sec. Yeah, I mean, this is, why not? Why not? This is just what I'm into. So, Yes Minister is one of the few sitcoms you don't have to watch it, you just have to listen to it. It's all in the dialogue. I won't use the word highbrow because it isn't really highbrow. I'm interested in politics. Politics really interests me, but I won't get into a debate about my particular politics because they've changed over the years. I used to be in one direction, now I'm not. Now I'm in another direction, let's just say that. So, yeah, in stark contrast to... Yeah, let's just not get... I like politics and I love Yes Minister. I think it's a really, really funny show. But again, it's all in the dialogue. Yes Minister, it's not visual comedy. Everything, you've really got a... It's like radio comedy. You've really got a... It's bureaucrats. Basically, what I love about it, Yes Minister, what I actually love is... Let's just pull one out and show you. Yes Minister, that's the third series. These three members, you've got the Minister, Jim Hacker, who is the Minister for Minister of Affairs. That's a fictional government department, but it very easily could be real. It works as a plot device. But anyway, and then you've got his civil servant, Humphrey Appleby, and then the other one, Derek, who's sort of the in-betweener between the two. The civil servant and the Minister and his civil servant, and what it's basically about is how the civil service are really the opposition. It doesn't matter who's in government, which party. If anyone in America is watching this works the same way anyway. It doesn't really matter who's in power. Ultimately, the civil servants do everything in their power to block what the ministers try and reforming things. It's nothing about party politics. It's about that, the relationship, how ministers come, they want to change stuff, and they do everything in their powers, and how they do that, how they try and keep everything to keep the status quo and use the language of red tape and bureaucracy. And it is such a fulfilling to watch. I mean, it's again, I'm not trying to sound snobbish. It's just it's a little bit more highbrow, the humour in it, but it's brilliant. And I love this, and I love Fairly Odd Parents and Powerpuff Girls, but that's just whatever. Breaking Bad. There's my collection of ties I haven't worn for years. Breaking Bad, the complete series on Blu-ray. This is the first thing I have got two other shows I have on Blu-ray. This is just one I decided to get on Blu-ray. What can I say about Breaking Bad? It's a masterpiece. It is a simple masterpiece of drama. It's not a comedy. It's a drama. I mean, everyone, surely you know about Breaking Bad. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, watch it. It's all I can say. It is so unbelievably good. A school teacher gets diagnosed with cancer and decides to start cooking crystal meth to provide for his family, and it's one of them shows, if you get into it, the more it goes on, it's just, I don't like to use the word multi-layered because it's kind of lazy, but it's so multi-layered, and you got subplots with it. I won't spoil it, but if you watch it, just all I can say is absolutely anyone who hasn't watched Breaking Bad, watch it. It is unbelievably good, and I bought the complete box set on Blu-ray because I loved it so much, and I will go back to it. But I'm not yet, for reasons we'll get into in a minute, because you can guess what else I've got on Blu-ray as well. Another show that's linked to that, you all know already. Spoiler alert. Oops, I'm just kicking my power cable connecting. I'm connecting this I've still got this connected to the mains as I do this, so I don't run out of juice. We'll come back to Phineas and Ferb. Yep, we've gone from Breaking Bad, Yes Minister, to Phineas and Ferb. It's a kid's cartoon. I like this one. This is one of the ones I really like. I like the premise. Now, I could do a whole video basically saying why Phineas and Ferb and Yes Minister actually, despite, they share a same trope, which is, it's the same thing in every episode, which is common in a lot of shows, but it's like the same plot over and over and over again, but told in different ways. It's basically, what it is it's these two kids who are on summer vacation in America, and they can do, and I like this trope of the magic and the mundane being combined, a world where anything can happen. These two, it's not magic, it's Very Odd Parents, it's magic, but with this, it's like they can do anything they want, and they do. They just oh, I know what we're going to do. Let's build a shrinking submarine, and they do. And then you got their frustrated older sister, sorry, not younger, who sees it all, and and you have to watch it, and there's a subplot, and it's the same thing in every episode, but again, I'm a weirdo. I'm just weird. I like this, just because it's a kid show doesn't mean it's not clever. That's my whole argument. And Phineas and Ferb, It was on the Disney Channel in the UK. I really like. I've got all the DVDs they did of it, because they don't actually do like a complete. If they did it, they did like a complete season set of it. I would buy that, but they don't do it. So I've just got all the ones they released. And then we got the Fairly Odd Parents. A couple more Phineas and Ferb down. That's all the ones they've done. Fairly Odd Parents. These are like TV movies, and these are the box sets, season 1 through to 8. There is actually 10 seasons, but the seasons 9 and 10 are shit. And they have never released them on DVD anyway. But it's like Cinderella turned on its head. It's a kid, this 10-year-old kid, who's got magic fairy godparents who can grant him anything he likes. And I like it. I don't care what you think of me. Pour hot scorn on me. I think that's a clever premise. You know, the idea that, you know, it's like Cinderella, and why, you know, what if a 10-year-old kid? And again, it's like childhood lifestyle porn to me, how I can put it. You know, it's kind of like what I wish my childhood had been but wasn't. If you know, essentially, you know, and I could. It's a bit too over the top. It gets to be too much of a farce to me, and the characters get a bit annoying at times in it. But you know, there's a lot to be said in it. It's the same plot in every episode. He wishes for something and then realizes he was better as he was. His parents are complete dopes in it. That's kind of what makes it funny a little bit. Is that they don't realise all the shit's going on. Then, you know, it's set in a world where children get granted fairy godparents, and it's like taking folklore and, like, you know, putting it. It's all American pop culture stuff. It's very obviously American, but it appeals to me because it mixes the magic with the mundane, and I like things that do that. So essentially, okay. And then we've got and then I'll come back to that one in a minute. And then we've got the Powerpuff Girls complete collection. A chemist. That's kind of like single parenting is the trope of that one. That's like good versus evil again. Basically, it's these like little girls who are created by accident and then are superheroes. And again, I still think Phineas and Ferb and Fairly Odd Parents are actually better than the Powerpuff Girls, but I like. There's something cute in it. There's just something that warms my heart watching these kind of things. I like a mixture. I can go from watching I'll watch Breaking Bad and I'll think, I'll just watch a Powerpuff Girls episodes, you know. It's like going from a Marmite sandwich to a chocolate bar for me is kind of how I do it, you know. Anyway, but I like these kind of shows, these kids cartoons all here. I like them a lot, but going from one to the other, it's all right in doses. I don't binge it a lot. I'll binge something else and then like do this as a kind of break. These are kind of like they're good to watch as break points in it, is how I put it. Or if you're watching an old BBC sitcom, just suddenly go into these as a break point. Anyway, Powerpuff Girls is about a bunch of 3 little girls who have magic superpowers. They weren't born, they were created by this scientist by accident. Yeah, it's just as stupid as it sounds. And they go around like fighting these evil like villains in it, and yeah, they stretched that out for 6 series. I'm a big fan, and I like the show. This is actually an Australian import. This is actually a Region 4 DVD set I bought, but I got it on eBay for a good price. Someone was selling their an old woman, a girl who had actually obviously grown out of it, decided to sell it, so I bought it off in an auction, and no one outbid me, and it wasn't that expensive. It was only about 10 quid. So again, I wouldn't have paid a lot of money for it, but it was cheap. Little Britain. This is a controversial one. If you know what Little Britain is, it's basically a sketch show from about it's getting on for 16 years ago now. Matt Lucas, David Walliams. It was huge at the time. It was like a huge show. Sorry, my back's starting to hurt. It was a huge show. Everyone knows Little Britain at the time. It was so immensely popular and catchphrase heavy. And it was these 2 guys, Matt Lucas, David Walliams. They just play all these different characters. It's a sketch show, not a sitcom. And they catchphrases, they keep it's the same joke over and over and over again in different ways. I'm comedy savvy, I know that, but I still enjoy it. And it's controversial now because, again, to go into politics, snowflakes are offended by it because they, it's one of them is supposed to be a transgender woman in it. That's not one of the better sketches. This guy who's gay, and he hates the fact that it's turning on its head. This is my argument with Little Britain, is that, yes, it's the idea is it's a gay guy, but he's offended the fact that no one is offended he's gay, no one cares, and that's kind of the joke. And it ran for 3 series, was very, very popular at the time. Has since it's one of them that was so popular at the time, it's since like faded off. but it caused a commentary because they've deleted it from all the streaming services because of political correctness. And then, of course, then the DVDs of it, of course, are now like valuable again, even though it's sold by the bucket load. Yep. I'm a fan of Little Britain. Sue me. I still think it's funny. I've revisited it not long ago. I only watched about 3 episodes and I laughed. It's still funny. Fuck you to anyone to any of the woke political correct people who go, oh, it's offensive. Fuck you. It's funny. Okay. Better Call Saul. We'll come back to the movies. Better Call Saul, which is the prequel to Breaking Bad. Yeah, if you watch Breaking Bad, there's a character in it called Saul Goodman. He's their criminal lawyer who helps the guy in it, and they've since made it into a spin-off, which is still ongoing. That hasn't finished yet. That's still being made to this day. They're on to that's the first 4 seasons of it. Season 5 has aired, but it hasn't been released on Blu-ray yet. But I will get it when it comes out, and keep going with that collection. It's a very good show. I don't think it's as good as Breaking Bad, but it's very good. It's a prequel, and it's how you do a prequel. Better Call Saul. If you ever want to know how do you make a good prequel, Better Call Saul is the best example because it tells its own story without just trying to be with little subtle Easter eggs to Breaking Bad in it. It's brilliant, very good. And there's still season 6 hasn't been filmed yet. There's still one more to go, and I've got the space here for when those come. I will buy the Blu-rays of it. I started on Blu-ray, I'll finish. Going back up, I missed it out. Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles on Blu-ray, season 1 and 2. I'm a big Terminator fan. I love we'll get onto the, I have those in my Blu-ray collection. I have Terminator in my Blu-ray collection. Love Terminator 2 so much. It's my favourite film ever. And they did a TV series on the Fox network in America, Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, that basically it was its own story, and it was all recast. It was a cult. It wasn't like a massive hit. It was just a cult show. I like it. It does what it says on the tin. It does everything that a Terminator TV series needs to do reasonably well on a TV budget, and I liked it enough to buy all the episodes on Blu-ray. There's a good story arc going on in it, and then it kind of ends too quickly, though. But then, of course, they axed it, so you know it just suddenly has to come to a really quick conclusion too much in the last few episodes, which is a shame. But you know, it didn't get a chance to spread its wing. I mean, if it'd gone for like another season or two, and they could have done some more good stuff with it. But I enjoyed it anyway for what it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it enough to buy the Blu-rays of it. Rick and Morty. I'll just flip it round. You can see it on my t-shirt. There it is, Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. What can I say about Rick and Morty? It's fucking brilliant. It's fucking amazing. Absolutely brilliant. And I've got the first 3 seasons on Blu-ray. Those are imports from Australia, because Australia's in the same region as us, region B, when it comes to Blu-ray. And there is a UK release of season 3, which I've got there. I think, this is a controversial opinion, I actually think, kneeling in things here, I actually think that season 1 is still the best season. I don't think I think season 2 is good. I think it actually gets worse in season 3 is the weakest season. It's unique in that I think the show starts off stronger and actually steadily gets a little bit weaker as it goes on. Although I think season 4 is actually probably better than season 3. It sort of peaked, it's gone back up again a little bit, but that's a whole other thing. But Rick and Morty, if you've not watched it, it's not for everyone. Breaking Bad, no matter who you are, where you are, watch it, get into it, it's good. Rick and Morty is an acquired taste. It won't be for everybody, but I love it. Again, it's that perfect blend of the magic and the mundane, a boring domestic setting that I can kind of relate to. Well, I can totally relate to, but then they put like a fantasy twist on it. Mad scientist who's a genius. He's like the Doctor in Doctor Who. He knows everything, and he moves in with his family, and it's all animated. And it's like Futurama meets The Simpsons, the earlier Simpsons. Yeah, it's brilliant. SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah, I probably think Phineas and Ferb Fairly Odd Parents is better than SpongeBob, but yeah, I like SpongeBob SquarePants. I picked these up. Someone was selling them on eBay. These are actually these are Region 1 imports. These are from America. It's basically, rather than it completes, this is season 1 to 10 effectively across to the first 100 episodes and the next 100, which comprises the first 10 seasons effectively, the first 9 telelights, season 1 to 9. It's still going. They're still making new episodes of SpongeBob, but it's one of them. It's so stupid, it's brilliant kind of thing. It's watch SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. Just say it's a bizarre premise, but it works somehow. Again, the earlier ones are much better than the later ones, though. It goes off the rails a lot, and as it goes on, we've also got, even though I've got the 10th and 11th, it was a whole set. Someone was selling on eBay. They were Region 1 imports, and somebody obviously decided, someone who must have bought these for some reason, and then decided they didn't want them anymore. So I picked them up in an auction. Plenty of things like that I will buy. It's not the kind of thing I would have spent a lot of money, like a huge amount of money on, but someone was selling these, and I've got the ability to play Region 1 discs, so I thought, yeah, why not? I'll have the first 11 seasons of SpongeBob. League of Gentlemen. This is another one of them shows they've taken off the streaming services lately. League of Gentlemen. It's in the same league as Little Britain. Excuse me one second. I'm just going to sit down, but still keep this as one continuous take. It's in the same league as Little Britain, but it's not Little Britain. It's its own thing entirely again. But it's really good. It's again it's 20 years ago. I can't believe it's been 20 years, but it's like this. It's a village. It's a town. Sorry, it's a fictional town in the United Kingdom but all the characters in it. It's the same. It's the same actors playing all the characters. I can't bother to take it off the shelf. It's the League of Gentlemen is the name of the troupe. It's these 3 guys, and they play every character in it, and male and female. Some of them are in drag, which is kind of why it's got. Some people consider it politically incorrect now, but it's like this town. It's very horror influenced. It's like quite dark. But it's a sitcom. It is a sitcom, not really a sketch show, because there's like a loose story arc underneath it all. Recently they made some new ones in the anniversary specials. I bought that just because I'm OCD about having the complete set. So they made 3 series of it 20 years ago, and it's a classic. I think it's great. It's great. Only Fools and Horses, complete box set. This is a controversial one because it's the box standard. Only Fools and Horses is immensely popular in the United Kingdom. It's if any Americans are watching, it's like our I Love Lucy or Seinfeld. It's just, everybody knows Only Fools and Horses. It's a sitcom. I mean, if you're English, I don't have to explain it to you. You know what Only Fools and Horses is. It's a sitcom about a family from London who are casual criminals who do everything to avoid having a job. They buy and sell. They're basically like eBay buyers, but before eBay was a thing, because it was 1981 to 1996 this show ran. And that's the complete box set of all the episodes, all 64 episodes, including some of the Stone Cold classics that are in there. It is immensely good show, but it's on my record stuck. It's controversial because a lot of people love to hate it because it's so monumentally popular and has been repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated to death so much. People hate it now, and a lot of people love to go on about, because everyone always goes on about, that's just popular, therefore it's rubbish. Well, it's not. The writing in it's amazing. The quality of the writing is so good. The thing is, it starts off at the beginning. It's not that good in the first series. It takes a little bit of time to get going, and it becomes more like a soap opera. That it is always that loose arc that there's this family who are, but it becomes more like a soapcom as it goes on and on. And I mean, if you're English, you're familiar with, who Del Boy is. Del Boy Rodney, Grandad, then later Uncle Albert comes into it. I don't care how, as a stand-up comedian, I'm supposed to hate it because it's so popular and mainstream and repeated so much. It's rubbish now. No, I love it. I think it's a great show. This is my guilty pleasure now. You saw that was this one. Is a bit of a tricky one to explain to people. This is the only real American sitcom I like, which is Bewitched, which is about it's a 1960s sitcom. This is really old. This is from the 60s, and it's about a woman. It's about a woman who gets married, and she's a witch, and he's a human, and it's the mixed marriage between a witch and a human. But it's the magic and the mundane. But it's corny. It's not like it's a bit tongue in cheek, but it's quite comforting to me. It's sort of like comfort watching. I don't know why. I don't really like American sitcoms, live action ones. Animated shows, love them. Sitcoms, I much prefer the British ones. But this one just is my little guilty pleasure weak spot. I really like this for some reason, and I sort of discovered it by accident. It was in black and white. The first 2 seasons of it were in black and white. It ran for 8 seasons in the 60s, and I like it enough to have the DVD set of it. I've got it. It's all 8 seasons there. That's all 8 seasons of it. They made a movie of it in 2005 with Nicole Kidman, but that's just shit. We don't talk about that. I hate it. But look up. I mean, these are all anything I'm talking about. You can look it up on Wikipedia anyway. But yeah, that's kind of the black sheep in my DVD collection. It's the one random thing you wouldn't think I'd have, but I like it for some reason, and I got into it totally by accident about 20 years ago in the early 2000s. It used to be on Channel 4 early in the morning, and I was unemployed for about 6-7 months, and I started watching it randomly and got into it. And yeah, Futurama. I really like Futurama. This is the complete box set, including all the original episodes, and then when it came back again, they brought it back again, and the 4 extended movie episodes. Futurama, big fan of it. Again, it's the magic and the mundane. I don't really like sci-fi that much by itself. I'm not Star Trek. I was into Doctor Who, but not enough to actually want the DVD set. I don't feel like an attachment to it enough. But Futurama, I think it's really good. I think it was criminally underrated. The original run was really, really good, but then when it came back again, it was more hit and miss. But I ended up buying the complete box set and then 4 as well. I've got the whole set there. Again, the people who made The Simpsons, it's a sci-fi sitcom. Again, I've watched it a lot. I've rewatched that 4 or 5 times all the way through, and probably will again at some point in the future. It's something I like to have on DVD. I can quote lines from it into it. If I was doing a list of my top 10 TV shows of all time, that would probably be like 8, 9 in that list, maybe 10. QI. I have the QI ones that are available. These are all the Stephen Fry episodes. QI, or Quite Interesting, is a panel show. I don't really watch much panel shows. In fact, this is literally the only thing left I now watch on TV. I do not watch live TV anymore. I don't put the telly on and watch anything live. There's nothing I follow on live TV anymore, apart from this QI. Quite Interesting. It's basically a bunch of comedians and celebrities talking about, say, I won't use the word highbrow, just talking about trivial things for 45 minutes and trying to be funny about it. As the name suggests, quite interesting. And I love it because I love trivial knowledge, and it really does it for me. Again, it does depend on the guest. Sometimes it's different each episode. They have different people, different comedians. It's comedians and celebrities, and it depends on who it is sometimes. Now, of course, it was hosted by Stephen Fry, and these are all the ones they've released on DVD. Each series, instead of being numbered, is lettered, so it's series A, B, C, D. They're currently on series S, is where they're up to right now with it. These are all the ones from A up to M. That's where Stephen Fry was the host. Since then, Sandy Toxvis has took over as the host. She took a while to grow on me. I've actually recorded all them. I've got all these on DVD, and I've got all the ones that have since. I keep on top of it, and I record it and then keep them as AVI files on a hard drive as well. So I've got a complete QI set. Yep, I really like QI. Again, the trivialist in me loves that. Goodnight Sweetheart and the British Empire, we'll get onto it. Goodnight Sweetheart, again, it's a sitcom from the 90s, starring Nicholas Lyndhurst, who was most famous for Rodney Trotter, Really Fools and Horses. He was in this show as well, in which he plays, this is like Bewitched, and again, this is the Bewitched thing. It's an insane premise, but done so well. I should have said that about Bewitched. It's such a stupid premise, but executed so well. And it's the same with this, Goodnight Sweetheart. It's about a man who finds a time portal in an alleyway, and then can travel. It's set in the 90s, but he travels back to the World War II London in the 1940s, and then he has a dual life. I'll just pull one of them out for you. Can I get it out? Hang on, so you can see the cover of what it. Yeah, it's it's about this guy Gary Sparrow. He goes back in time to the 1940s and starts having an affair. And it's such a stupidly brilliant premise, but it works. It's really funny, and it all works. And there's a really good story arc underneath it all, and it ran for 6 series in the 90s, 1993 to 1999. Again, it's one I've watched it many times. I've watched it all the way through it about 6 times. When we went into lockdown, I watched through them all again. Again, it's a bit of comfort watching to me. I happen to really like this. And likewise, this is another controversial one. This is the British Empire complete box set that I've got all 7 series of it, although series 6 and 7 are shit. Don't bother, but I have the complete box set, even though I hate the final 2 series. Right, this is a 90s sitcom. So many BBC 90s sitcoms I'm into, starring Christopher Barry, who's most famous for playing Rimmer in Red Dwarf. This was his other show, but the character he plays in this couldn't be any more different than it's basically, it's set in a leisure centre, and he's a jinx. He's like, he means well. It's like this character who means so well, but everything goes wrong, and he's like really annoying, and the staff hate him. But it's quite dark in parts, and the characters are very three-dimensional. Of course, it causes controversy because it splits opinion very violently. It's like Marmite or Donald Trump or Mrs. Brown's Boys now. Loads of people think this is awful and like really hate it. I think it's a criminally underrated show. It's set in a leisure centre, but that's neither here nor there. And it's a swimming pool. Anyone in America watching it, that's a swimming pool or a gym. What we call it's like a place, the sports centre in a community, and his wife's in it, and she's constantly depressed and antidepressant. She would be married to him. He's such a character in it, and it's like, yeah, but it ran for 7 series in the 90s, but it's not actually that good. It's not that good. It ran for 5 series, and they wrote an end to it. It had like a definitive ending after 5 series. And then they decided to do more anyway, and kind of had to retcon the ending and write another 2 series, and it kind of spoils it, and it's not that good. So yeah, there's that. And of course, I wouldn't be without this one either. We've got the Father Ted complete box set. This again, the writing in this is a classic. This is a modern classic, 90s sitcom. Not BBC. This is Channel 4, and it's about 3 priests who live on an island. It's Irish. It's basically set in Ireland, and they're 3 Catholic priests who live on an island. And you've got an idiot, this intellectual, and the retired priest who's drunk, and the housekeeper. This is the caricatures of them on the cover. It's an absolute stone cold classic. They only ran for 3 series, 25 episodes. The lead guy, he actually died shortly after the last episode was finished. And it's not really it's not a piss take of Catholicism as such. It's just 3 men it's 3 men who don't really get on that well in a situation they can't get out of. But this one's a bit like surreal. It's dark in places, but it's kind of slapsticky. It's almost cartoony in its humour. The humour's a little bit more slapsticky and cartoony, and very very well written too. And again, it's a little bit of an acquired taste. Some people, basically, I know some people, and my mum and dad don't like it. This is rubbish. Why'd you like this? Well, it's a bit intellectual for some people. The humour's very subtle in it, but silly. It's silly but subtle. I don't know. I mean, it's a great show. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. But if you're British, I'm pretty sure, and from my generation, you'll be familiar with that. Now, this is one I have to defend to the hills. This is a drama series called Crime Traveller. Now, what this is a short-lived, it was incredibly short-lived BBC drama. It's not a comedy, it's a drama, starring Chloe Annett and Michael Fish. Michael Fish is a weather forecaster. Michael French, and she played Kachansky in Red Dwarf series 7 and 8. This is a different thing. It's about, it's one of these stupid premises that's really well executed, in my opinion. 2 police detectives, and she secretly has a time machine, and they go back in time and solve crimes using, hence Crime Traveller, and go back in time and solve crimes. It only ran for 8 episodes. They never made any more. The premise is ludicrous, but it's so well executed for the premise, and it's the only show I've ever watched that has time travel in it, that it all makes sense. The logic of the time travel is perfect. Like, everything comes together. You can't change the past. You going back in time and try and change the past. It's like a horrible. It's like John. It predates it, but it's like Jonathan Crete with time travel in it. Is all I can put. The time machine isn't even here. There's a story in it why this woman randomly has a time machine and he befriends her. They're not in item. They're just friends in it. But that's kind of the chemistry between them. There's another subplot in it. But it was BBC 1997. It only ran for 8 episodes. This is all 8 episodes. I've watched this so many times over and over and over again. And some people hate it and go on about how they hate it for the premise. It's the same as Goodnight Sweetheart and Bewitched. It's the premise they hate, but you can have an insane premise and execute it well, and this is a perfect example of that. Okay, moving on. We've got my movies and my music and DVD and stand-up collection, which isn't that big, but let's do the movies now. Okay, we'll just do them quickly, because this has been going for 40 minutes now. Clockwise, which is a 1980s movie starring John Cleese. The movie version of Porridge, the sitcom, they did a movie of it. Jumanji, Schindler's List, Time Bandits. Powerpuff Girls movie, Contagion, which was a recent pickup. I got that in a charity shop. Die Hard, Die Hard 1, to go into some detail. Die Hard 1, I think, is a great film. The sequel's not so much. That's a German movie about I have to go into some detail now with that one. That's a German movie about a guy who, it's a spoof of like those health and safety videos. It's in German. You can find it on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description, and it's really dark humour and funny. I actually liked it so much I bought the DVD of it. We've got The League of Gentlemen's Apocalypse. That's the movie adaptation of the League of Gentlemen TV show I talked about earlier. They made a movie adaptation of it. That's that. Religulous. That's a movie about a guy who's an atheist going around tormenting religious people. I won't get into that. I am an atheist and found that funny, that movie, so I bought it. Being John Malkovich, a very dark film with a dark ending. Titanic is a guilty pleasure. Cool Runnings. The Shawshank Redemption's a great movie. Airplane and Airplane 2. The two Ace Ventura movies. The Time Machine, H.G. Wells, that is a really good film. Train Spotting, great movie from the 90s. I'm from that generation. If you're from the generation, you all remember Train Spotting. It was a defining film of our generation. We have a complete set of... we have all 4 Monty Python films. I haven't got the Monty Python DVD set, but I've got all 4 movies. One of them, Life of Brian, on Blu-ray. That's the very first Blu-ray I ever bought. We have Jurassic Park, the original Italian Job, and the Full Monty on Blu-ray up there as well. I happen to think The Italian Job is a great film. I think The Full Monties are very underrated. It's the only Fools and Horses of the film. That's the film of the... A lot of people hate The Full Monty. I think it's really funny. Enough to have it on Blu-ray. I've seen it like 20 times. I can almost recite it word for word. It is insanely... It's in the dialogue. The dialogue is funny in The Full Monty. I like it. Fuck you. Whoever. We've got all 8 Harry Potter movies and the Fantastic Beasts, first Fantastic Beasts film, which I liked enough to buy on Blu-ray. The next one was terrible. But these are the films I've seen the most. I can... Back to the Future trilogy, 1, 2 and 3, and Terminator 1 and 2. I can recite those films word for word. I've seen them so many times. They're my favourite films ever. I love them so much. Back to the Future is what Star Wars is to some people. To me, I love it so much. I can literally recite it word for word, all 3 of them. And likewise, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, love them to bits. I've even got... I bought Dark Fate on Blu-ray because I actually quite liked it, personally. The Dark Fate, the more recent sequel, I rather liked it. Got the first Matrix on DVD, on Blu-ray, because I, again, think that's one of the best films ever. The sequels, let's pretend they don't exist. They are shit. The first Men in Black, again, The Matrix and Men in Black have that thing in common. The very first one is an amazingly good film, and they're in my top 10 favourite films ever. Why did they do sequels? Why do the sequels exist? They're shit. Super Mario Brothers, the 1990s movie. I could do a whole video talking about this. Many YouTubers have. I have it on Blu-ray because I consider this the best, worst film ever. This film is so bad and fails so epically on so many levels. I like it. I mean, I like it ironically. I think it has huge entertainment value because it's so horrendous. And yet I'm the Mario generation, so I get what's going on with it. So that's why I remember that film. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz and The World's End, the Cornetto trilogy. Cloud Atlas is an underrated film. I happened to watch this and thought it was really good, enough to buy it on Blu-ray. Look into Cloud Atlas. It's one of them. It's an art house film that is really long and is really high concept, but I loved it. Thought it was really clever. Star Wars. I have the complete Star Wars. This is the complete Star Wars saga. It isn't actually the complete saga. It's episode 3, the original Rogue One, the original trilogy, of course, and I've got some, and The Force Awakens. I think The Last Jedi wasn't that good, and I hated the episode 9. I absolutely hated it. I don't think episode 1 and 2 are particularly good, but I do actually quite like Revenge of the Sith. So even though it says the complete saga, it isn't actually all of them. It's basically episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and Rogue One that I've put in the complete saga box. Ghostbusters 1 and 2 I think are great films. The first one's the best. The sequel isn't that good, but it was a box set of both I bought. Simpsons movie, again, I think it's pretty good. Not brilliant, but pretty good. I liked it, as movies go. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the 2005 remake. I think that was a charity shop fine for about £2. No, or was it Poundland? I think I paid £2 for that about 3 or 4 years ago. I liked it enough. I liked it as a film. Wasn't as good as the BBC TV adaptation, but I liked it. Dumb and Dumber, Aladdin, The Lion King, those are childhood favourites, them two. The Incredibles, Speed, Event Horizon is one of them. It's such a bad film, it's actually really good. Ghost, like Titanic, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. The first Toy Story 1, I've got on Blu-ray. I don't think the sequels are crap, but they're not as good as the first one. I maintain the first Toy Story is the good one, and I've got it on Blu-ray. Haven't bothered with any of the sequels, bothering with them. I've got Independence Day. Again, I'm from it was a memorable film. I'm from that time period. I was 13 when that came out. My Cousin Vinny is a very, very good film. I've enough to have it on Blu-ray. Again, I could talk for hours about that. That is a good film. I just really like it. Jim Carrey's The Mash, that was a Poundland fine. Again, 90s classic. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't actually think it's that good myself. I think it's overrated, but I think I got this as a deal with something. I bought something and that came with it as a part of the deal, where I've just hung on to it. Monsters Inc. I think is a good film. These are actually American imports. We didn't actually get any of these free here, these next 3, which is why they're slimmer. But I like them so much, I actually bought the imported because they're not region coded. They're American imports, but not region coded, and I bought them from sellers in the UK. We have Snowpiercer, which I only watched quite recently and thought it was a brilliantly stupid concept, but again, stupid concept, brilliantly well executed. The Truman Show is an amazingly good film, and South Park Bigger and Longer and Uncut is the best TV adaptation of a TV show ever to film. Parkland, that's about the assassination of President Kennedy. I really enjoyed that film. Weekend at Bernie's is silly but good. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrel and Snatch, great films. Home Alone 2, again, guilty pleasures from my childhood. Enemy of the State's a great film. Mrs. Doubtfire, again, it's one of the films I watched when I was young and thought was brilliant. And why have I got the Lego Movie in here? I think that wasn't that I think my niece was getting rid of stuff and gave me that. She was chucking out a load of Blu-rays or giving it to charity shops and said, "Do you want anything?" And I thought that was okay, so I thought, I'll take that and stick it on my shelf. It's not something I'd bother buying otherwise. Drop Dead Fred is an insanely underrated film. A lot of people hate this, and I really, really like it. I think it's funny. Simple as it's pure old humour at its best. It's a stupid concept, well executed. Last Action Hero, again, falling off the shelf. Last Action Hero, again, this was a charity shop fine, but I think it's an underrated film. At face value, not like Super Mario Brothers. I genuinely like this film. Parole Officer, Short Circuit 2, Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2, Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic Park The Lost Wood I have in here for some reason, and I can't remember why. Again, I think my niece was chucking her DVD and Blu-ray collection out, and they were in it, and I thought, oh well, I'll stick them on the shelf. Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3 is awful, but I just stuck it in there anyway. True Lies, I think, is an underrated film. It's funny. I think Nuns on the Run, again, I really like that film. Hot Shots Part 2 and Hot. This is a rare example. It's the only... Right, these are, in my opinion, ignore them from earlier. I haven't put them back on the top shelf yet. These are the only three, in my opinion, these are the only three sequels that surpass the original film. You're getting a bit of my slipper in shot there. These are the only three film sequels that are superior to the first one, in my opinion, and that's only because I saw Short Circuit 2 and I saw Hot Shots Part 2 before I saw the first one, which is why I actually think they're better. But I think it's a funnier film. That, again, is a more enjoyable and funnier film, and that's just a brilliant movie all round. So they're the only three examples of it, so I've got them. Let me just put them back on the shelf. We've got the Great Train Robbery, we've got Rat Race, Mortal Kombat, the movie adaptation of the video game. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure. I like it. I like it. Liar Liar, great film. Return of Jafar, again, I think that was a charity shop find. Some of these are charity shop finds. They're not ones I would like have paid a lot of money for, but I think it was apparently in a charity shop. Wayne's World 1 and 2. The two SpongeBob SquarePants movies, yeah, because I've got the movie, so I like the thing. Johnny English was a charity shop find, stuck it in there. It's okay, it's okay. Spaceballs, very funny film. Something About Mary, very funny film. Fish Called Wanda, very, very funny film. Fierce Creatures is a good film. Sonic the Hedgehog is a recent purchase. Someone was selling it on eBay, their copy, and I picked it up literally 2 weeks ago. I happened to come across an auction, and no one had, like, it was 99p plus 99p. I paid £2 for this, so I thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll get that for £2, because I watched it and liked it. Not, again, brilliantly. Again, it was an OCD thing. I thought, I've got the Mario Brothers movie, I'll have that to go with it on DVD. Mike Bassett, England manager. I don't like sport. I don't care about football. I love this film because it's about the politics of sport. And it's really, really, the humour's so subtle in it, and it's just stupidly funny. And it's one of them, you know, a lot of people, this didn't get that great of a report, it got mixed reviews. I think it's criminally underrated. It is such a funny film. For someone who, like me, who doesn't like sport, but he's fascinated by the politics of it, brilliant, because there's no actual football in it. Four Weddings and a Funeral, the On the Buses movie trilogy set, that's a guilty pleasure. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, again, it's not a great film, but I have it enough. But I quite like it. I don't think it's a terrible film. I think it's okay. So I thought it was good enough to have on DVD anyway. And Wallace and Gromit, the original Wallace and Gromit, the three original TV movies, and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit I've got. I like Wallace and Gromit. Okay, and finally, moving on, I'll do these first. We have my collection of live music DVDs. We have the 3 Mount Street Preachers ones. I have 2 copies of everything by the Mount Street Preachers. I have a copy that I watch and play, and another copy that's still sealed in my actual collection. These are the ones I actually watch. We have Live in Cuba, Forever Delayed, and the Leaving the 20th Century gig. That's the 3 main DVDs they brought out, and of course I've got those. The Music, Live in Japan, who I think were a very good live act. 2 Queen live DVDs, Live at Wembley Stadium, Live at the Bowl. Again, these were charity shop finds, but I love Queen. I think they're really good live. Nirvana live, because I never could watch them. Again, Queen and Nirvana are 2 of the bands I would love to have seen live, but it's impossible for me to ever do it. Oasis, Familiar to Millions, I like Oasis. Glastonbury anthems, some good classic Glastonbury live stuff on that. Bryan Adams live at Slane Castle for some reason. I think, again, charity shop find, and I quite like some of his stuff. A Beautiful South DVD, because I love The Beautiful South, and that's them in concert. Stereophonics, live, Foo Fighters live, and a Red Hot Chili Peppers live. Again, they're good live bands. The Foo Fighters and the Red Hot Chili Peppers are really good live, so that's why I have those. And finally, last but not least, we have my stand-up comedy DVD collection, which is, right, we'll get on to my favourite comedian of all time. He's there, obviously. I've got all 6 of his. We've got Milton Jones. It's, as you can tell, it's all one-liner and punny stuff because I'm a one-liner at myself. I do puns myself, so obviously that's the ones I have. We have the 3 Milton Jones ones he's released, because I love Milton Jones. Jimmy Carr's very, very first DVD, which is just called Jimmy Carr Live, I think's really good, because it has that bit where he's doing... It's basically, I have this for one particular bit in it, where he starts doing small ads he's placed in the newspaper, he claims to have placed. That is so funny, that bit. Actually, it was worth having the DVD of it to me. Dave Gorman's Google Whack Adventure. This is the best live stand-up show that has a narrative to it ever. And I've been to Edinburgh and watched loads of people I know's shows. There's some really good Edinburgh shows. A show that has a narrative and a theme to it, this is the best one ever. It's just so anal retentive, and the story's so gripping and brilliant, and I love every minute of this. I could watch this. I have watched it over and over again, enough to want the DVD of it. Stuart Francis, the Canadian one-liner guy, I've got all 3 of his because I'm a big fan of his. I love one-liners and puns. And, of course, The Godfather, to me, Tim Vine, all 6 of his DVDs. All there, including his most recent one, Sunset Milk Idiot. Tim Vine is a stand-up comedian in England. He's the pun master. He just goes on stage and literally just goes pun, 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 pun for an hour. And that's all his DVDs are. I do the same thing myself on stage. I very much... I don't say copy him, but I try and make it my own, but I do a similar thing to him. So obviously he's my hero and my god, and that's why I've got all 6 of his DVDs. So there we go. It took an hour. I'll do some editing in this, but yeah, that's my entire DVD collection. If you want to follow my Twitch feed where I play I'll do my video game collection in another video. That's going to be a quick video. That's my entire video game collection there. If you want to watch me play Mario Kart Wii online, or want to watch me play Mortal Kombat at speed, or want to watch me do videos about old chart show clips, please go to my Twitch account, which is here. It's Roger Swift 1983. You can also hit subscribe on this channel for more videos.